I'm building a bottle house, and a bottle house starts with bottles. This project was inspired because there's no recycling of glass in the Bitterroot Valley, Montana. So you see, people come, and I am the recycling place, and we have wine bottles and clear bottles. Okay, so to make my bottle building, there's two ways to do it. One way is to frame your building and fill in with bottles and cob or cement. And the other way is to do it without internal framing. But I did internal framing, and you can see some of the framing here that will be filled in. I just stuck the bottles in to the wall, and you can see here that bottles ends are sticking out and the flat side is on the outside. And you can fill this in with mortar. This is mortar, or here this is clay and sand, cob, for the internal walls. The important thing is, if you decide to build a bottle house without cutting the bottles, they have to face inside, otherwise you're going to have wasp nests in all of the brown bottles. For some reason they don't like to build wasp nests in the green or the white ones. But you can see that these bottles take up a lot of the space inside, so I decided on a new plan. Take each bottle and cut it in half and put the two ends together so that, and join them with masking tape, and now you're going to have a flat side on both sides. The best way to cut bottles, I found, is with a tile saw. And you want an adjustable tile saw, because if you have a saw with a head that can be adjusted, you can cut everything from a beer bottle to bottles like a Carl Rossi wine bottle, which makes some very nice windows in your bottle house. And so this tile saw also has water coming through it, so you don't get a lot of glass coming around. And I will demonstrate the cutting of a bottle. You always want to have, you should have ear protectors and eye protectors. Are the two pieces, and when you cut two, you now have two bottoms which you join together with duct tape, and this is going to be the bottle in your wall. And then you're going to have bags of tops, which you have to think of what to do with. One other point I'll show is you make a little jig here so that you can cut your bottle the right size, and my walls are 6 inches. It's framed 6 inches, so each of the bottles will be cut 3 inches and put together. Okay. Here I made these interior walls out of sand and clay. You can see here the ratio of sand and clay is good. There really is very few cracks, but if you look up here, these big cracks, this is because there's too much clay, and so it shrinks when it dries. But when you start working with cob, you can also make your laying boxes out of cob, and it's just a fun material to work with. And you can see there's somebody in there taking advantage of it. So I mentioned there are two fillers you can use. One is to fill your spaces between your bottles with pre-made mortar mix, or with sand and cement that you buy and mix. The other way is to take clay, and this is clay, and mix this with a certain amount of sand, and you can find information online for what ratios to mix of your sand and clay. If you mix too much clay, it'll shrink too much sand, it'll fall apart. And you can put this between your bottles. I'm using this cob, this sand and clay, for the interior walls because they won't be exposed to much water. The exterior walls, I'm using mortar. If you're going to use mortar, you can mix it by hand in a wheelbarrow and with a hoe, such as here, or you can buy a home cement mixer for only $100 or so, which makes the process much less laborious. What do you do with the bottle tops? This is one idea with the bottle tops. You can make bottle top art in your yard, and you can use uncut bottles to make bottle trees in your yard. When you're cutting your bottles, you're going to have some loss. You're going to have broken glass. And this broken glass, then, you can melt in a kiln, a glass kiln, and you can make tile out of them. A future project.